Hello, everyone. I promised post-match thoughts of Miami FC versus Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is the team I probably follow the second closest in the USL Championship behind Miami FC. So this was a pretty straightforward match for me to analyze. And part of the reason I thought Miami FC had a real shot before the match was that Tampa Bay still is without Nick Moon, who hasn't played a minute this season. Really high-level player. If you're not familiar with him, was very good at Indy 11, was very good at San Diego, was good in USL League One at Lansing, the first few years of that league. So a guy that I rate very highly. We haven't seen him yet. Charlie Dennis is still hurt. He came on for a cup of coffee at the end of this match, but he's still hurt. Leo Fernandez is out again. Maybe was not fully fit when they were giving him 45-minute runouts earlier in the season. So I thought this gave Miami FC an opportunity. The thing is, Miami FC is a very young team. We have to remember that. And young teams hit walls. Young players tend to be inconsistent. That's just a general principle across world football, which is why a lot of times fans don't understand if they support some sort of big club in Europe, and they'll get angry. Pep Guardiola isn't playing. This was a common argument actually a few years ago. Pep Guardiola isn't playing Phil Foden 90 minutes in every match. Why? And I understood it, right? And I, you even see how if you're sticking with the Premier League, how that Arsenal team evolved, which was essentially a core of young players that Mikel Arteta was playing and bloodletting at the same time. There were wild inconsistencies in their play. It eventually evened out. They're now a title contender, but it takes time. So I think Miami FC fans have to be patient with the young guys we have. This having been said, a lot of the mistakes we saw on Thursday night were individual errors and were things that are correctable. And Antonio Notarino, as a manager, is a teacher, so he will work to correct them. But some of the errors we saw were from veteran players, which has me concerned. So let's start with Cabral, who, of course, is a player that is a holdover from last year. Now, after Thursday's swap deal, he's the last player who's a holdover from last season, and is a player that's played in this general region since he came to the United States. So I've tracked him. Right? I even watched him when he was in at the Villages, USL League Two. He was pretty consistently out of position in the first half on Thursday night. And I don't know if it was the issue of playing on grass, because let's put it this way. The match was a lot faster on this grass at FIU Soccer Stadium than it is on the turf across the street at the FIU football stadium, or it's been when Miami FC has played away from home on turf. So this was a quick match. Tampa Bay was up for the pace and tempo of the match. They play on grass. They play on a really good pitch at Al Lang in St. Petersburg. So they're accustomed to this, and obviously have a team that at times can be pacey. And I think it's going to get even more pacey when Nick Moon makes his debut. And then when you have Leo Fernandez back, you're going to have a solid technical player in the midfield, and one of the best at the Division II level in the United States over the course of the last decade or more, going back to his time with the Cosmos, or actually going back to his time with Harrisburg before that. So I think we're looking at a situation where you are playing in a difficult environment, right? A different environment for the young players. The pace is much higher. The pitch is quick, and so you need your veteran players to be in position, need to be helping. And I think a lot of times we saw on goals individual errors. There was a giveaway from Booth that led to the first goal, right? But I don't necessarily blame Booth for that. He had nowhere to go, right? And Cabral wasn't where he needed to be. On other breakdowns, you saw maybe Gagliardi as the keeper not pick the most viable option to play the ball out to, but played kind of the quickie, panicky option, which allowed Tampa Bay's press to settle in, created a situation where there was a quick change of possession, 1v1 going against you, and then that's an issue. Another veteran player is Frank Lopez, who I think consistently got himself into good positions all night, but then, he's got to finish one or two of these chances, right? He's had 4 or 5 gilt edge chances, since the Orange County game that he hasn't finished. So particularly when you're playing effectively without a number 9, you want someone who's going to finish those chances. And he was in several 1v1 situations. Actually, I think he was in 2 1v1 situations with the keeper, Jordan Farr, and couldn't beat him. So that was a concern. I think the other overriding concern is mentality, right? Because with young players, you have a situation where they have to have the right mentality. They have to be hungry. They can't get down in matches. And what we saw on Thursday night was some of those guys kept playing. They kept playing hard. They really showed their commitment to the cause. And that is a very, very positive thing. I mean, last season and the previous season also under Anthony Pulis, if you got into situations like this, you'd see heads go down. You'd see a lot of yelling and screaming between the players, a lot of communication breakdowns. We didn't really see that on Thursday night. We saw the team keep playing, but there were a couple individuals that I felt were just off the pace. And I would put, unfortunately, I would put Cabral at the top of that list. And then you have poor finishing, and then I think you have some poor decisions. And as this team plays more on the FIU Soccer Stadium pitch, as there's more continuity maybe in how they play on that pitch, with the quicker pace that comes with that pitch, we probably won't see this level of problems in terms of playing out of the back. And there are some times that the long option is the best option if you're a goalkeeper, and that's something Gagliardi has to think about in future matches. Birmingham is a team, Miami FC is going to play in a week that presses high, and does a lot of things similar to how Tampa Bay does it. Maybe doesn't execute at quite the same level, but they do press high also. Tormenta is a very good team. I think that's going to be a tough match, Tormenta in the U.S. Open Cup. And then you get Birmingham in the league, and then you go back to FIU Soccer Stadium for a very good San Antonio team. So it's not going to get any easier. Tampa Bay is a very good team, or I thought Tampa Bay would be a very good team before the season. But honestly, with the guys out that I mentioned, and also let me mention Zane Bubb, who's a player I rate very highly, who hasn't played a minute yet, who I think is going to be very good. People don't know about him. Another guy for the Rowdies. With those guys out, I really thought Miami FC had a chance, but instead it was really a humiliating game. So the important thing now is young players taking the lessons out of that loss, taking the lessons from that defeat, and learning from them. And they have the right guy in Antonio Notarino to do that. So anyway, enjoy your weekend. No Miami FC game this weekend. Wednesday night, FIU Soccer Stadium, Tormenta FC is the opponent. Very good team from USL League One, a team that has produced, and actually Cabral's former team. We may have 1 or 2 other former Tormenta guys on the team. But yeah, very good team, a team that I watched against Savannah, a team that I watched against Lexington. They look good in both those games.